Hey, how you doing? This is Neil from masterpaintingnow.com, and I got a new video for you guys. So here's some faces that I drew from imagination without any references, just off the cuff, and you can do really cool cartoony stuff. And it's really easy to kind of get to the point where when you draw faces, they're without expression. So you can, I have a whole course, I believe, in my faces course. I go all through expression, a whole section about expressions, and I have a free video in here somewhere, I think, kind of an older one on the YouTube channel here about how to draw expressions. But it's basically just tilting the eyebrows, so in different directions. All right, let's go ahead and get started, and let's just do something here for imagination. So one thing I like to do, and I get this question all the time: what software are you using? I'm using PaintStorm. Awesome software. It's only $20. You own it for life, guys. It's amazing. Like, I don't use Photoshop anymore. This is exclusively what I use. Sometimes I use Clip Studio Paint for certain things, but I mainly use this for everything: for sketching, for drawing, for painting. It's just an absolutely amazing software, especially with my paintbrushes, especially if you like to do like Bob Ross stuff, and just in general, it's just awesome software. Anyway, so that's that. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing I like to do is I like to fill the background in with a kind of gray color. So make one layer, kind of make it gray. One, it's easier on the eyes, and two, if you're going to change this into anything with shading or tone, or if you're going to do a painting, it's good to have something with color in the background, an actual value, because when you start drawing, it'll, like in painting, if you, all your colors will be off, they'll be too light or whatever. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. So first thing that I do is I just draw an oval. It's super simple to draw faces from imagination. Well, I shouldn't say it's super simple, because it's not. It takes a lot of practice to get good at it, but with practice you can get good at it. Once you got the basics down, then drawing from imagination is quite simple. So the first thing you do is just draw an egg kind of shape and then just cut it in half both directions, vertical and horizontal. That's all I do. Once you got your perspective, and I highly recommend, if you haven't taken my How to Draw Pretty Faces course, to go ahead and take that. I go through all the proportions and all that kind of stuff. Once you have the proportions down, then you can just cut out a lot of steps. But definitely, when you're first starting, you want to do all that. I like to use like rhombuses for the eyes, so it's kind of like a shape like this. And just keep in mind that the amount of eyes that fit across a face is about 5 or 4. So you definitely want 3 eyes here, right? Evenly spaced. And then you want either a half an eye on each side or a full eye. I like the half an eye. I think it just looks better. But everyone's face is a little bit different. But usually there's at least a half an eyeball. And then I just kind of mark that in, and I just kind of go up like this. And now within this egg shape, I'm just going to, how high do I want my hairline? I probably want my hairline about here maybe. I'm going to start erasing some of this now. Then I got to think, okay, what do I want my character to look like? What kind of expression. But before I do the expression, I like to draw everything in first. And I keep my nose quite close. It's just my style. And I start with this little triangle shape because it's really easy to turn that into a human nose. And it just occupies space. So you can go, okay, I can see the space it's occupying. And I might actually put that down just a little bit. Let's see here, then I kind of usually just draw. This might not be this isn't going to be the actual shapes I use in the end, but I like to go ahead and do that right there. I'm going to go ahead and just bring all this down real fast. This is what's cool about working digitally. If you feel like you kind of did something off, you can just kind of fix it really quick. Then I'm just kind of put basically where I kind of want my chin to be, and cheeks coming down to about where the line of the mouth is, like that. And then you want to curve in. Sorry, my phone was like vibrating like crazy. All these, I don't know how they get your numbers, all these freaking companies. Spam. It's kind of irritating. So the neck bit pretty much attaches, right. I'm not gonna get all the anatomy and stuff, but just know that the neck isn't super skinny. Now you can have a style, you can make your ears go up to like about top of the eyebrows down to the bottom of the nose or so. You just kind of put these basic shapes in there, and then it's like, okay, now I can start sculpting this and make it into something cool, right? And I'm going to go ahead and do, I think, like a weird, crazy face. Or rather, maybe a silly face. So first I kind of imagine the face I want, and then from that I kind of build on the shape. So if I make it kind of like silly, I feel like this eye is a little bit too far over. I'm going to just kind of start redrawing it. If I make it like silly, what if I have the eyes coming in, right? So you can actually just draw the actual circle if you need to know how much of the eye is going to fit in there. That's a little too much. I'm going to kind of make it almost, there we go, something like that there. Right, so it's going to be cross-eyed. It's like, okay, that's cool. I like that. Once I have that figured out, then I'm like, okay, I think I want to change the shape of the eye a little bit. I think I might come up like this and then come up and down a little bit. And I usually do this when I'm doing like cutesy eyes, especially if the person's like crying or something. But I think it actually might fit here as well. I kind of start thinking about, eyelashes and stuff like that. So that's working cool. So for noses, you just have this like little, I usually just do this in the little nostrils. You can have little flares. Then you can actually take this and turn it into a little shape. Something like that. The eyebrows, I'm thinking maybe one should be higher than the other, so I can have one kind of coming down like this, and the other one, let's make it higher like this. I want to keep this up and down though. Something like that. That's cool. And then we can like have her sticking her tongue out or something to be extra silly. And so I'm going to kind of just erase some of this just to get an idea how I want to look. Now, to do this, I think sometimes it's actually easier to kind of draw the thing, like the center of the mouth and how that's going to look. Because I know I want the tongue sticking out, so I'm going to draw the tongue here. All right, so we kind of have the tongue sticking out like that. And then you can show the teeth or not. I was doing the face myself really quick. You can, her mouth might be open or not. We can open her jaw just a little bit because usually you want to open your jaw a little bit to let the tongue out. So I'm going to bring the jaw line down a little bit here, like so, since we're opening the mouth. Because remember, how you open your mouth is the jaw lowers and it's on a hinge, and your jaw lowers or closes. So it's this from, this lower section opens and closes. You can lift your lips up, but that's not your upper skull. This part here is fixed. It doesn't move. And we can do some teeth or something. I'm debating whether, let's see here. Let's kind of go like, I'm thinking maybe, just kind of imagining how, there's several different ways we can actually do this. I'm debating whether I want to, let's see. Nah, I don't like that. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to make it to where we still want the mouth kind of open like this. The lip, would be kind of wider because it's just opening it a little bit. And we can kind of bring it down like this. And then from here, this would be the actual teeth, I think. So let's go like this. Hmm. Yeah, okay. I don't know if I want to show teeth, but well, maybe we'll do teeth. Let's go like this. And then you can come up here like that and kind of do the lip. Just debating whether or not. And if you don't get it how you need it at first, it's all right. You can just, you can redraw some of it, you know? It looks like she's biting her tongue. So we're going to open up the mouth more. And again, we don't have to have, so let's go and open the mouth more like this. There we go. And when you have a tongue sticking out, if you run into, you know, too much trouble, you can always, you know, look at reference. But usually for cartoon stuff like this, you know, more, you know, just kind of having fun, you usually don't need reference because you can kind of figure out the mechanics just thinking about it. And so here I'm just kind of, you know, working through and I'm thinking about how that might work. And that works pretty good. Now her mouth looks more open, you see, because I changed the how far that bottom lip goes down. And so now her mouth looks like it opens more. And we can also maybe curve the tongue a little bit. And we can also make it to where it's not, what if we do, I just want to see what it looks like if we don't do it so stretched on the top here. So we're kind of keeping the mouth more relaxed and we're opening that bottom. Let's see what this looks like. Hold on. So now the upper lip's going to be more similar to how it'd be if it were. It still has to come all the way over here though. The part that's open. Just kind of messing with shapes here. That's kind of cool. Then maybe we can just show just a little bit of the teeth because they might be showing just a little bit. And then the tongue, I'm thinking might start more like here because this will be, we'll have some shadow in here to kind of show it's going back in space. That's kind of cute. And sometimes it's good to kind of zoom out too, just kind of get a better look at your drawing that way. That's kind of cute, kind of like that. Click this button here instead. I'm going to show a couple more things before we move on, because we could just leave it like that and then start finishing this out. Or one thing you can do is kind of start with a shape like this. If you want to, like, especially if you want to make the mouth more open. And this would be for anything, whether you're sticking the tongue out, or you just want the mouth more open. Is you can kind of start with this kind of triangle shape, right? Because the mouth kind of stretches open. And you can think of the basic shape. I'm going to kind of imagine that lip's not there for right now. Just a placement. Imagine this shape here, that kind of upper slightly arch shape. Then it kind of comes down and makes this kind of like triangle. So that's like the basic shape there. You kind of imagine that basic shape there. Then you can fit the lip and everything into that. So this upper lip is going to be stretched a little bit because of the way the mouth is open. So you can think about that main shape that's being created and then work from that. So you can go, okay, from there, you know, the lip is going to be kind of stretched out like this. I didn't want that line. Well, you know, I'm gonna make my pencil a little bit bigger because I'm working at a higher resolution right now, so I can add more detail. This is the pen. I'm using a default pencil right here. It's the second one under pencils in the Paint Storm. I really like that one. Looks really good. And then you can kind of go like that, and then might see just a little bit of the teeth there. And then here, in this case, you can have a lot more shadow in here, like I had before, but we'll just add some more. You definitely want some shadow in there between the tongue and the teeth and the lips so that we'll give it like just a different shape to add some character. Then we can kind of pull this down. And then you got to decide, what's the shape of the tongue? Is it more thin? Is it fatter? Like that. Now I can get rid of that line. Remember, the tongue has, shape to it, so I want to kind of hint at some of that shape there. Give it a three-dimensionality. Mess that line up. Make it a little bit thinner. And then from here, we can just kind of draw the bottom lip. Right, so that's one way we could do it. Or we can draw it a little bit different and kind of maybe stick the tongue to the side. That might look kind of cool and quirky for this one here. I'm going to draw her pupils because her pupils would be toward the center of that circle. And again, this is, definitely a sketch. It's not a drawing. I like to do sketches more than I like to draw. That is, I actually like the way that sketches look. They have that, just to me, a really cool look when they're not finished. But you can always, turn it into a full drawing by getting really detailed with it. I'm gonna add a little bit of shading to inside the eyeball here. All right, cool. We're starting to get something that looks nice. Debating whether or not I want to redraw the nose, or not the nose, whether I want to redraw the mouth. Again, I don't want the video to be too long, but I mean, whatever, right? That's typically how my videos are. Everyone pretty much knows that by now, I think. They come watch a video from me, they know. All right, this is going to be not a short video. I'm just kind of paying attention to some of this, three-dimensional structure of the face. Just adding a little bit of shadow here and there. All right, cool. So it actually looks kind of cute. We can add hair to it, but I'm going to go ahead and redraw this again. Let's do it with the tongue sideways, see what that looks like. And this is what's cool about sketching. You can take the time. I mean, you can always say that just in case you like it. So you can always make a copy of that. Like before I erased it, I could have just copied that, copy and pasted it, and then, saved it, turned that layer off and saved it just in case I don't like what I end up doing. I'm like, I like that better. And, that way you still have it there. So I'm going to just kind of rethink the shapes here. That's about how far up I like to go. Maybe that's about how far down. I want to make sure she still has somewhat of a chin. And maybe come over this far. Yeah, so kind of like that. So then we can kind of add a shape like kind of a more silly shape. So we kind of go like this. And then kind of come down and stretch it into this bottom lip. I think this might actually work out pretty well. Keeping my lines light, I'm just kind of, putting some light pressure. And in this case, I mean, I like that line, but I made it too high because I want to still add the lip there. So, but that's the basic shapes. I can still see it. I almost erased all the way, but I'm still kind of keeping it. You don't always have to have that upper lip either. I mean, a lot of times, artists will eliminate that upper lip for certain expressions, and it looks good, I think. It's fine. Anime especially does it. That lip might kind of disappear. I'm just kind of thinking how. I could have actually sketched the whole entire shape first too. Just kind of imagine how would this whole shape go. Now remember, teeth are kind of rounded. They're not like straight across, because you have the longer teeth in the front. So the overall shape is kind of slightly rounded. I made the teeth coming down a little bit too far. I think I might give her less long tooth. Let's make her not so long in the tooth. Yeah, something like that, less tooth showing. And then we can take the tongue and think about what if it's sideways like this. And typically when you stick your tongue out sideways, you have to flex it, right? So it changes the overall shape of the tongue. We can even curl the end up maybe, but it wraps around back inside the mouth and it comes out like this. We're kind of pulling it sideways. And remember, the tongue is a three-dimensional object, so you're going to see some of the side plane all right here of the tongue like that. And get rid of this now. I'm like making faces right now. I'm not looking at a mirror or anything, but I'm just kind of feeling how my face feels. I'm just kind of seeing, can I kind of put a, nah, I think it's better just straight out to the side. You can maybe have a little upturn. That's too high. You know what? Because I think what we would actually, I want to be able to see that crack. So whenever I make faces and stuff, especially with the mouth open, I like to be able to see this little crack right here, like the space, like it's like a little triangle like that. I like to see this little triangle of shadow right here whenever I'm doing any kind of face. So I'm going to kind of go like that, kind of pull this down. Maybe we kind of down to the side like that. That's cooler. All right, and then this. I don't think we'd see the lip like that, maybe. I don't know. You also just got to make a design choice. You know, what do you think looks cooler? So I'm thinking that looks cool. Depending on where the light's coming from, you know, but usually that light's most likely coming from more upper. So that's why the shadow's going to be on the bottom part, the bottom side of that. And you might be able to see a little bit of that same dark triangle over here as well. I'm going to kind of add that in there. We're going to kind of shade some more of this so we add some three-dimensionality to it. Like that. Maybe we can see a little bit of the bottom teeth, like this. I'm trying to feel my own teeth. You could technically do that without seeing them, but most likely you're going to see them a little bit. You'd have to kind of tweak your lip weird to not see some of your bottom teeth, I think. Now I'm putting that shadow darker right there because I know that the tongue is sitting on top of it, right? And since this tongue is sitting on top of it, it's going to be casting a shadow. And, you know, I'm going to make the tongue darker. So how this pencil works, it's like a real pencil. So as long as you have a good tablet, then if you put your pen sideways, hold it sideways, you get this kind of shadowing, right? But if you hold the pencil more up and down and try to shade, it's going to be more like lines, you know, see? And you can get a line like that, or you can hold it more sideways and get a line like this. See the difference? Pretty cool. It really does feel like a real pencil. I think it looks like a real pencil too, like pretty damn close. Then I'm going to give her just a little bit of shadow down here for the chin, because in real life, the chin is usually shadowed, the bottom part of the plane, because it rolls away from the light. Just kind of adding some shadow up here as well. And it makes the chin not look as big. Another trick is just to draw the chin smaller. That is, don't draw it down as far. But sometimes that can look weird. It can look like a weird elf person. I'm gonna add a little bit of shadow on that part of the teeth. A little bit of shadow beneath the teeth. I don't want to, that's too much. See, now the teeth look weird. So this shadow right here has to be very subtle. Right there we go. Just to add that three-dimensionality. And the reason why I wanted to shade the whole entire tongue too, I'm going to go back over the whole tongue now and shade it, is that way I can come back with white. Let's go pure white actually. And this is what's good about drawing on toned papers. When you actually use white, it's really white. And see, just adding that little bit, it's like now it looks like that's cool. Looks like it's glistening, you know, glistening, glistening. It's glistening. All right, we can, you know what we could do? I don't know. This is kind of fun. Let's just add like another thing you can do, you know, add saliva. Now we can add a little bit of shadow to that. Just kind of. That looks more, I don't know, looks like it's getting more sexual or something. I don't know, or creepy. Oh, okay, maybe not. But it's cool. Like you can do that easily with when you work on, and this is cool when you work on actual toned paper physically. So when you're physically drawing on toned paper, you can do the same thing. You know, you can take a white Prismacolor pencil and you can use that. You know, this is supposed to be a sketch, and now I'm getting like focusing on too much detail here. Sometimes that happens. And I think I'm going to go a little bit lighter, and I'm going to add some gloss to this bottom lip here. We can also, I'm not going to worry about that for right now. Okay. I usually add this little shadow on this eye and sometimes on over here because I always kind of imagine my light a little bit coming from the right hand side instead of just straight up above. So I'm thinking that looks pretty cool. I can add a little bit more eye makeup. We can add all kinds more detail to the eyes if we wanted to, you know, we can make it more realistic by adding in different shades and you know, adding this bottom line here to make it like where it glistens and all that stuff, but there's no need because this is supposed to be a sketch, not a drawing. But you know, there's a lot of details you can, you know, memorize that you can use to add more realism. Remember, eyes inside are still, there's still spheres inside of there. So I'm just slowly building up a little bit of shadow here. I'm gonna make the makeup thicker using the pencil edge on the side too. Add a little bit of shadow around the eyebrows like that. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna make this side a little bit darker and come up more with it because I want my lighting to come from the right hand side more. Also, since it is coming from the right hand side, you know, you might actually be able to see a shadow right here for the tongue. All right, cool. I'm liking this. This is good. Let's go ahead and make a hairstyle here. So I think a cute little hairstyle we can do, and there's all kinds of hairstyles you can do. And I know hair can be confusing sometimes, but I have a whole tutorial how to do hair as well. I also have a whole section on my faces, how to draw hair, also my anime, how to draw hair. And so you just imagine this halo and you like, you know, above the head here, and then it just, all the hair kind of just drapes off of that, and then you just cut it into, and there's the front part of the hair, which is like your bangs, and you can style that in different ways. Then there's the middle section, all the hair that falls here, and that's the middle. And then on the back ring, there's all the hair that goes in the back of the character, and that's the back hair. So first I'm going to do the bangs or the front hair, and I'm going to just kind of, I think I might just give her actual bangs. We can just come across like this. I like doing, you know, cool, kind of crazy, wild shapes, especially for sketches. And then we have the back hair. That's where you can see some of that back shape like that. And what if we just kind of curve that middle hair, and we just kind of curve it right in here like this. That's the middle strands, these middle strands that are coming here, like that. And then I'm going to kind of show a little bit of those middle strands a little bit coming out like this. I really like the way this pencil looks when you use it on its side, like as if you were using a real pencil on its side. It's really nice. So that's what I'm doing. So if you're wondering how am I getting that kind of pencil particular look to my stroke, that's what I'm doing. I'm using the pencil on its side. We can add a little bit of shadow to some of the hair over here. And you can just leave it like that. That's actually good for, I think, a finished sketch. Or we can maybe add some more hair. So let's think about the background hair. Now on that halo, this is all the hair that's attached here and falling in the back of the character. And what is that back hair doing? Well, it depends on the style of hair. I can just have that, I'm a kind of drawing through invisibly, and I can have the hair just kind of, doing that, for example. That's a weird haircut, though. Most likely it's going to either be short, and so this is all you would see because the background hair is short. You might be able to see a little bit like this, coming up, but most likely you wouldn't. Or we can go, what if it's falling in the back, but that background hair is also kind of shaped like this, and it's kind of cut, something like that. And because it's background hair, it's in the back, I like to add a little bit of shadow to it. Another thing I might do is I don't like that shape. And I'm running out of room, so I'm just gonna grab this and pull it down a little bit like that. I want to add a little bit of that kind of hair shape, but I don't want like that kind of part right there. I just didn't want it too much. See, those are too thin of lines. I don't like that. Not for this part. So I got to turn my pencil sideways, and it's kind of strange drawing like this from this angle. But I'm going to draw just a couple little shapes here to kind of show that's where the hairline is. I kind of like the cute little hairs that kind of come over the face like that too. Pretty cool. And by the time we're done, what's cool about what I really enjoy, about this kind of that's not good. I don't like that either. I'm gonna just kind of do a couple little hairs, I guess. What's really cool, I'm gonna make this stronger and darker because it's the background, and I really want to pull that through. Kind of want to show, make a distinguishing lines. And what I'm not trying to do ever is like scribble, like I'm doing specific lines. I'm pulling my lines from here and pulling them, I'm following the rhythm of the hair and the direction of the hair. Like that's what I'm doing here. I'm like trying to pull a dynamic line when I did those hairs here because I'm trying to go, they're coming from there and they're pulling down here, It just makes your lines look cool. And maybe I can add a little bit of gloss in the eyes there. Cool. So what I was finished my thought. What's cool though, what I was saying is that when you do a drawing like this, or a sketch rather like this, is that you know for yourself that you're not looking at anything, right? This is all coming from your imagination. You're not looking at anything, and you don't really have an idea about how the person's going to look in your head. It's not like I see this character in my head and I know exactly what she looks like. I know the kind of nose she has. I know the kind of eyes she has on. It's not like I see the character in my head. I just have an idea of, hey, I want a silly face. And sometimes I have no idea at all what I'm drawing before I draw it. Like that is, I just draw the basic thing. Then I just start going from there. Like, okay, what kind of mouth is she making right now? Like what kind of face I want to make. And sometimes I mix things up. I'll be like, hey, what if I give her these kind of eyes? What if I erased her mouth and made her mouth into a smile? Then this would look really creepy, right? Almost look like a creepy thing. Matter of fact, we might do that really quick. But in the end, you end up with, something that looks like it could be, that's full size, by the way. Something that could be a person, like that could be a real person in a cartoon way. And I like that. I like being, I think I might have made her hair too big on the top. Maybe not, because you can definitely make your hair like that. You can style it. If her hair wasn't bouncy and blow dried to be like that, that wouldn't be that bouncy on the top. It would have started more for, I think, like here, like that would have came more like this, and then would have came out to the side like that. And then if I erase all this up here, it would have looked more like this, I think. It just depends. Do you want her to have more of a round head or what, you know? I think it would look more like that. Just right? I kind of like that shape better. So maybe I'll end it with this, and that is, if you've already enjoyed the video, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. You can hit the thumbs button up while you're watching. Like, you can keep watching the video. You can just take the second and just take your mouse or your finger, whatever, and then just click the like button and keep watching. It literally takes you a second. I'd really appreciate it. It'd be awesome. I mean, if you're enjoying it, that is. So, I could end the video here, or I can go, what if I kind of show what I'm talking about, right? So we can make a copy of this, hitting this little icon here. That makes a duplicate. Turn one of them off. Now I can come here and I can go, let's see what would happen if I erase the mouth. And you don't have to use eraser, by the way. You can just lasso tool and then edit, cut. Bam, it's gone. Oh, she's no mouth. What if we made her like Neo, from the Matrix, and just kind of, I'm just kidding. We can go and like, what if we gave her like, stitched mouth. Anyway, that looks, whoa, okay. That's very different looking, isn't it? See how I got that with just a few strokes? The pencil on its side and just kind of thinking about the shapes that, stitches kind of make into a smile. And then we can kind of, just start loosely shading some of that. Wow, that looks really creepy. I kind of like it. Okay. But what if we gave her some sort of like smile, right? We can do that. Let's just give her a cute smile. See what happens. See how this face looks now. All right, we can't give her too big of a smile because we have to change the structure of her eyes, I think. But I actually guess you still technically could, but it would look weird, I think. So one smile we can do is like we kind of do the lips. And sometimes I like to think about this. I like to just have that shape that I know that's where the top lip's going to be, so I know how far down to take the shape here. But you can think about this middle shape. You can kind of have it open and kind of go like this. That's sometimes that smile shape works. Right, and then you just add into the upper lip onto it like this. I might have made it a little bit too big and too low down. It kind of looks like a weird clown, so I'm going to go like this instead. And then let's pull the lip down like this. We can kind of come like that. It's kind of like a goofy smile. Like that. Now, because her mouth is open, remember I made the jaw open. So now if I don't have her mouth open too much, you're going to have this big chin because the jaw is down and it looks strange. We can always make her have super big lips to kind of make up for that, but so instead, oh man, there's so much of the sketch that's done now. We'll have to erase all this. We'll add her chin on in a second. Let's get her mouth done first. So that's one kind of smile we can do. And I'm thinking maybe we can lift it up a little bit. Like this. We can go really crazy with it and give her like a huge crazy smile, make it look really weird. We can do a smile where she kind of shows her teeth a little bit. I mean, there's all different kinds of things we can do. But anyway. Remember, it comes down like that to about where the middle of the mouth is, and it starts turning in. I always like to decide how big I want the chin. Do I want it to be, small or larger? And if I want it that size, then I pull the lines up from there. And I try to go in like an arch, not like a straight line. Just kind of adding more shadow to parts of the lip here. Add some more shadow to the bottom part of the lip to show it has plane changes. Right underneath the lip, there's usually that little dent that kind of, because from the side view, you have the bottom lip, and then there's this dent, and then the chin. That dent right there is what I'm shadowing. Can make it look older and give her line creases. Typically, I don't do that in a drawing though. You'd like lightly hint at that in a painting maybe. Okay, there we go. So you can see, look at, go back and forth between these two. That's a lot more silly and playful. This one looks awkward, you know, like she has her eyes pinched in, like, you know, but now because she has a smile, look how it changes. The expression looks totally different. Now she looks worried. Like, see, ain't that crazy? Just by changing one element. Like here you have, you know, she like, yeah, she looks like she's just being silly and goofy. And then to like, I'm worried, you know, like it's so different. So anyway, you can play around with it, and if you want to hit if you're on a laptop or keyboard, hit print screen. Now there's a way to take a screenshot on your phone too. You might have to download software. I think some phones have a way to do it where you can just take a screenshot of the screen. I think maybe hold down a button or something on some phones. But if not, you can definitely download software to do that for you. And that software allows you to hit a button, and that will, you know, take a screenshot. And then you can take that screenshot into your software, and you can draw over this. You can, you know, erase the mouth and then draw your own mouth just to kind of experiment to see how different it is. Or just, you know, if you draw your own version here, you can take that version and yeah, mess around with it. Try change, you know, maybe leave the tongue out and then try changing the expression of the eyes. Maybe change the eyebrows a little bit. Like for example, if I didn't want her to quite look like she looks right now, I could take her eyebrows. I can change them a little bit. So now she still has that kind of look, you know, you can kind of still see, to me, I can still kind of see that kind of weird, crazy look because the way her eyes are, it's gonna be hard to get rid of that look. But what if we kind of just went, oh, you know, what if you kind of went angry with the eyebrows a little bit like that? Oops, I should go up higher. What if we went like that with them? You know, now she looks like a little different too. Now she doesn't look so worried. Now she looks more like intentionally that she's trying to look a little bit crazy, like, you know, crazy smile. Anyway, something to play around with. So yeah, when you're sketching and doing sketches, try to think of expressions. You know, change up the expression of the drawing. Do that base drawing like we did, and from that base drawing, you can, you know, draw different kinds of eyes and everything. You can do crying eyes. Just think about an expression. Think about an emotion. Or, you know, you don't always have to think about an emotion either. Like I said, you can just mess around with stuff. Like, go, okay, what if I make my eyebrows one up and one down? You know, like use, like there's language, right? And I go through, I would say, I want to say like go through my emotional sheet, but I don't think that's free. I think it's part of one of my courses. But for example, you have your eyebrows up like this, and that's kind of like sad or worry, right? Look at just by themselves, you can kind of see it's sadness or worry. Then you have the eyes down here. And if you have the eyebrows going from pinching up like this is typically anger. Look how just by the eyebrows alone, you know that that's anger, right? Because the eyebrows tell you that it's angry. So just you know, it's amazing how just eyebrows alone say so much. And then if you have them kind of up and high, so let's kind of do our eyes here. You have the eyebrows kind of up high at arts like this, it's happiness. And then if you pull the little thing here on the eyes, and it's happiness. And you can actually see how this would be happiness if I were to draw a smile. You know, you can have one up, one down to kind of have a smirk, and that kind of shows, you know, more like snarkiness or something. You know, you can mess around with different things. And those are the main three ones actually. The eyebrows like in a shape like this, or the eyebrows in a shape like that. You know, these two shapes here are the main ones. And then of course you just have your standard, you know, eyebrow shape, which is like that. And you can pinch them further. You can actually pinch them further where they come, you know, like that. So you can pinch this middle part together more. And so the eyebrows still come down though, right? And when you smile big, it pushes up on this lower lid. So instead of the lid being open like that, it would push it it changes the shape to be up like that. So now the eye kind of has a shape like that. And that would be a big smile. See? You can also do like, if you have your eyes here, you can just do like a straight, you know, and that kind of conveys an emotion too. And then if you couple that with, the face expression, the rest of the face expression. So what is the mouth doing? If the mouth is just talking, that can kind of be like, almost like almost like he's concerned or something. And if you lower the eyebrows down further, it can even look more like, like he's really pondering something. So you take that same idea, straight eyebrows, don't make them angry, just put them down low like this. So they're still straight, right? And now he looks more like, like maybe he's pondering something or thinking about something. And then, depends on how you do the lips. So yeah. All right, cool. Hopefully that helps. Just mess around with, change your eyebrow shapes to one of these shapes here, and mess around with what expression, you want to make with your mouth, and get different expressions. Don't just draw relaxed looking people because that's boring, right? Start practicing drawing people in the middle of an emotion, especially if you're going to be doing things like comics or cartoons or anything like that, animation. You need to learn how to draw those emotions because people throughout a comic book aren't just going to be straight face. That'd be a really boring comic, You have to draw people expressing all their emotions and everything. Okay, thanks for watching. Hey, again, if you enjoyed this, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. If you'd like to see something in the future, leave a comment. I appreciate it. All right, until next time.